When our American family and friends come and visit Germany for the first time, what shocks them the most about life in Germany? Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. I am Donnie, and along with my wife Aubrey, we are two Americans currently living in Germany with our baby, sharing all of our experiences living and traveling throughout Europe. We've been living in Germany for about 3.5 years now, and to be honest, life in Germany is really starting to just become normal to us, maybe, as you could say we are Germanizing. Sometimes there are things that we've actually gotten used to as normal parts of our life over here, and as we talk to our American family and friends about it, we forget how weird certain things are for them until they stop us and point it out. We've also been able to have a handful of our family and friends come visit us from the States, and we've loved getting to see Germany through their eyes and reactions to life over here as they remind us of little things that we forget are different. So what things have we noticed have been the most shocking things about life in Germany for our American counterparts? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today in my video. That's normal to you, man, but not to an American. As many of you know, Aubrey and I welcomed our first baby into the world about 8 months ago, and Aubrey is still on maternity leave. We've done whole videos about the differences in the US and Germany when it comes to having a baby, and maternity leave and the amount of parental leave in general in Germany compared to the US is a massive shock to our American friends and families. I think that most Americans we talk to expect to hear that maternity leave is longer in Europe than in US when they ask Aubrey how long she has off, but they typically never expect to hear that she is taking over a year off after the birth, or that this entire duration is paid maternity leave. So you actually have quite a bit of flexibility in Germany when it comes to how much time you take off in total, but basically you get 6 weeks before the due date, 8 weeks after, and then Aubrey chose to take another year after those 8 weeks. Now you can actually take more time, but this is just what we chose to do. As to why any American we talk to is so shocked by this is because there is no legally required paid maternity leave in the US, just 12 weeks of unpaid time off is available to workers. Of course, it isn't just parental leave that is shocking to them. One of the favorite questions of our American counterparts is always, so how much vacation time do you get working in Germany? Because again, the US has no legally mandated minimum time off, although it is common for full-time employees to get around 10 days of vacation a year starting out and then earning more over time. So when we tell them the legally required minimum in Germany is 20 days of vacation, but most companies will offer more, maybe even starting at 30 days a year, they are completely blown away. Americans can't fathom this amount of time off, and often the follow-up question is, well, how do employers stay in business with all of their employees always taking so much time off? And to that, I don't really know the full answer considering I am self-employed and haven't worked in a German business, but it does just seem to work is all I can say. So I would be interested in knowing from our German audience though, how many days of vacation do you get in a year? One of the best things to do with our American friends or family visiting is to take them on a tour of our area and then casually swinging by the local sauna to point it out. At first, when we tell them, that's our local sauna, the general response is, oh, I mean, that's cool. And then you hit them with, everybody is naked in there. And then the shock really sets in. In general, Americans and Europeans know they have differing acceptance of nudity. And when Americans first step on a European beach, for example, and see topless sunbathers, they're probably going to blush and giggle a little like school kids initially, but Americans still expect to see that on European beaches. However, most Americans definitely don't expect to find a public institution where men and women strut around naked together, and especially when you tell them that German groups of co-ed friends and even in some cases families would go do this together. Now, to hear more in depth on this subject as well as many other differences in the perception and acceptance of nudity between Germans and Americans, you can check out this video I did last year, but in general, German saunas are absolutely one of the most shocking things to learn about, are just normal parts of everyday life in Germany for our American friends and family visiting, and even more shocking to those that venture out to give them a try. Real quick, I wanted to remind you guys that a link to our merch shop is in the description below, and I also wanted to give a big shout out to our patrons for supporting our channel. I'm so appreciative of you all, and if you would like to know more ways that you can support our channel, a link to our Patreon is in the description below, but also hitting that like and subscribe button goes a super long way in supporting us, so thanks so much for doing that. Something every foreigner in Germany always initially is shocked by is the German trash system, and this is no exception for our visiting American friends and family. When we first moved here, we were given a 33-page guidebook to the German trash system that was initially overwhelming for us, but then once we got the hang of it, we only once in a while now have a question about how to dispose of a particular item. But when we have family or friends coming to visit, we have added labels to all of our various trash cans, and we give a mini orientation to them all just so that they know how to throw something away. Typically, we'll spend the week or two they are visiting consulting them every time they have to throw something away, and often the general progression of things goes from laughter and astonishment when they first arrive to frustration by the end of their trip because they can't ever simply throw something out without having to ask us how to do it. Or we'll just find many piles of trash that they want us to sort for them in fear that they might mess it up if they do it themselves. Now, this is usually when some German viewers like to make jokes about how they can't believe that Americans don't know how to recycle. And to some extent, yes, depending on where our American friends or family are coming from, we do have those that really never have been confronted with any recycling of any sort, but we also have others where in their parts of the country they do have recycling. In fact, when we were just in Washington State visiting family, most homes had tiny rest mule trash cans, but huge recycling trash bins, and then separate buckets for glass and jars and bottles that were picked up from their home. So it isn't that recycling isn't done in the US, but in many ways, it's just that Germans do it so different that it can be hard to learn. And to be honest, whenever we travel to France or Switzerland, for example, we feel like our American friends and family again because the way they recycle in those countries is so different from how we do it in Germany. And we're often confused as to how to separate our trash in our Airbnbs as well. But overall, this is something that in general is something very simple to just throw something out in the US, and our American friends or family don't expect this to be something that is confusing or a culture shock when they are visiting Germany. German windows are extremely famous at this point, and it is one thing that you can be confident that any foreigner first moving to Germany will be blown away with when they first see how they work. It's also one of our favorite things to watch as our American family or friends watch in amazement as we open them up all the way, but then are in horror when they think they have broken the window when it later tilts when they are expecting it to swing open. However, even with the magical German windows having all these engineering tricks, the thing that always shocks our American friends and family the most are actually the Rolladens. Rolladens are a super simple device that at first glance you wouldn't think Americans would be so surprised by because many American homes have blinds that hang on the inside of our windows, but something about them being on the outside, them magically appearing from inside the wall of a home, and even more amazingly, the fact that it creates a completely pitch black environment when closed is mind-boggling and extremely warmly received for our family and friends suffering from jet lag and struggling with their sleep. For sure, of nearly everything Americans see when they visit Germany, this is the thing that we hear the most they wish they could take back to the US. In particular, in parts of the country where tornadoes or hurricanes are common, since the Rolladens can feel quite substantial, they wonder why these aren't a thing where they could possibly help protect windows in cases of inclement weather. We've talked a lot in our videos about how we are from Oklahoma and how Oklahoma normally has about the second best cost of living in the US, meaning it is very affordable to live there. We have our personal experiences moving from there and then living in Germany with the cost of living comparisons, but we have family and friends from different parts of the US, and it is fun to hear their thoughts on the cost of things when they come visit us. First, most of our family and friends from Oklahoma or Texas, aka oil producing states, and where economies are heavily dependent on the oil industry, are always flabbergasted at the price of gasoline in Germany. Generally speaking, compared to Oklahoma, where gasoline is some of the cheapest even in the US, we generally pay about 3 and sometimes up to 4 times more for gasoline in Germany than back at home. We've gotten fairly used to paying these prices, and also we don't pay for gas nearly as much as we did in the States because we do walk so much more here to places, whereas in the US we always had to drive. But for our American friends and family who are thinking about how often they have to buy gas, they are thinking about it in these terms and can't imagine paying the prices one must pay in Germany, and it is thoroughly shocking to them. However, especially when we first had our baby and we had family coming to help us start our new lives with our baby, our families were doing a lot of grocery shopping for us, and they couldn't believe how inexpensive groceries and baby goods are in Germany. Aubrey's mom in particular, who now lives in the northwest of the US, where the cost of living is significantly higher than Oklahoma, would opt for all of the more expensive brands at the grocery store in Germany simply because they were still way cheaper than even the cheap goods in her part of the US. I did a cost comparison video last year to compare how much baby goods are between Oklahoma and Rheinland-Pfalz, and I found that if we were in Oklahoma, we would be paying 25.8 cents per diaper, but here in Rheinland-Pfalz, we pay 18 cents per diaper. Of course, don't forget that most of the time, the American price doesn't include tax, and that would be included at checkout, so the actual price of the diapers in Oklahoma is higher than what we see here, whereas the German price is the final price with all the taxes included. So we're probably looking at roughly a 10 cents per diaper difference. But I can tell you right now, that adds up quickly when you are burning through those things after we start to switch our baby over to solid foods for the first time. So there are gives and takes, but it is funny to see our family and friends' shocking reaction to the price of different things in Germany, whether they find it more expensive or more affordable. To see who made it this far into the video, the random question of the week is: how many countries have you ever visited? Thanks so much for watching, guys. Be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and I will see you in our next video. Since the Roladens can feel quite substantial. Not a great start. Haven't filmed in like a month. A little bit rusty.